This is Wallacea. It is one of the most beautiful areas in the world today.
As one of the only hotspots found in Indonesia, it is home to 1,500 endemic plant species and 100 endemic threatened birds, mammals, and amphibians.
Of these 100, 6 species are critically endangered. Our goal is to teach you how to help out Wallacea and all of its species, specifically the Wallacean water buffalo.
Water buffaloes are among some of the largest mammals in the world, weighing between 1,500 and 2,650 pounds and standing taller than a 6'2" man. Water buffaloes are known for their horns, which are normally 2 meters long. They can be variations of gray or black and can be either diurnal or nocturnal. Sadly, these valuable giants are one of the endangered species found in Wallacea.
Within Wallacea, water buffaloes can be found in forests, woodlands, and grasslands. They also depend on wet areas such as rivers and swamps. They feed entirely on plants found in their habitat because they are herbivores. They also love to graze and find fresh fruit, bark, trees, and shrubs. However, the amount of plants in the water buffalo's habitat will most likely increase because there has been a 50% decline in the population of the water buffalo for the last 3 generations, and this decline is projected to continue.
There are several threats facing the water buffalo that is causing such a dramatic decrease in their population. Hunting is the largest threat for water buffalo. They are hunted in unprotected areas of Wallacea, Thailand, Cambodia, and Myanmar. They are used for their milk, meat, skin, and horns. People also find them useful for being a draft animal in rice paddies and transporting goods. In addition, interbreeding with domestic buffalo is causing hybridization and threatening the wild water buffalo population. Domestic buffalo are also introducing new diseases and parasites to wild buffalo when they are interbred. Lastly, habitat loss is a major threat to water buffalo. Loggers taking resources from the environment, natural fires burning down forests, deforestation caused by humans for agriculture, and human settlements for their use are all contributing to habitat loss.
The water buffalo is important to Wallacea because it holds a vital position in the food chain as a primary consumer. Their decrease in population is causing an increase in plant population, which is dangerous because there are too many plant producers available for not enough primary consumers. The decline of water buffalo also affects higher trophic levels. Higher predators such as the Komodo dragon and Indian python has less available food and therefore are dying off. Other species eaten by the higher level predators would die out as well because they would be overhunted by the predators.
In order for the water buffalo species to recover from their decline and thrive, all threats facing water buffalo need to be eliminated. Hunting and capturing needs to be banned, and domestic and wild water buffalo need to be permanently separated to avoid hybridization and disease. Also, the habitat of Wallacea needs to be closely monitored to avoid habitat loss.
There are many ways you can eliminate threats against water buffalo and all species of Wallacea. Some solutions will directly help the water buffalo, while others will help all biodiversity of Wallacea.
To lower the amount of hunting of water buffalo and other endangered or threatened species, the government can do more to enforce the laws already in place that prohibit hunting. The government can do this by training more enforcement forces and distributing them evenly throughout Wallacea. Using these forces, such as the police and military, will work in reducing hunting because many people in Wallacea cannot afford to go to jail or pay a fine. So they will stop hunting to avoid these unwanted consequences. Once hunting ceases, the population of water buffalo will immediately begin to rise.
The simple way to end interbreeding and all the negatives that come with it would be to let the wild species reproduce on their own. However, many farmers would be unwilling to do this. Once again, the government needs to place laws prohibiting the capturing and interbreeding of the wild water buffalo. Similarly to the solution of hunting, law enforcement will be used to uphold the laws, and they can hand out fines and arrest anyone who chooses to break such laws. Farmers will then stop interbreeding, and wild water buffaloes will be left alone. No more hybridization or gene flow between the species will occur, so the wild water buffalo population will increase.
There are solutions to each cause of habitat loss. To cut down on loggers, which are businesses cutting down wood for their own use, the government can pass stricter penalties and help fund legal logging operations. A decrease in logging will result in an increase of tree and habitat growth, which then benefits the water buffalo. Natural fires can be reduced by having more firefighters on standby. The faster the fire is put out, the more habitat available for water buffalo and other species. Deforestation for agriculture and settlements can be eliminated if we move humans out of the areas with or near endangered and threatened species. They can be moved into areas already inhabited by humans and establish farms and settlements in those areas. Clearing people out of Wallacea will increase the population of water buffalo because they would have their habitat back with no human interference. If all of these solutions worked, the water buffaloes would have a better and larger habitat, and the threat of habitat loss would be non-existent.
The conservation steps in our plan require much time, dedication, and even some money. We know that the government in Operation Wallacea would be stakeholders capable of fulfilling all steps in our plan.
The government could carry out our plan because it could pass essential laws included in our plan, and it would also be able to enforce them by hiring police officers, firefighters, officials, and converted military units to help lessen the burden on taxpayers.
Operation Wallacea is an organization that runs biological and conservation management research programs that operate all over the world, especially in Wallacea. Operation Wallacea could assist in our plan by educating humans living and working in Indonesia and Wallacea about the threats they impose to the water buffalo and other species. This organization can also have some of its staff monitor the amounts of logging, hunting, and interbreeding of the water buffalo.
Our main goal is to save the wild water buffalo from extinction. In order to do this, we need to conserve hectares of land by making them protected areas. Currently, there is 50,000 square kilometers remaining of Wallacea vegetation, with only 24,000 square kilometers being protected. We would like to conserve an additional 15,000 square kilometers, or 1,500 hectares. Most of this land will be from the Indonesian province of Sulawesi and the nation of East Timor, since these islands carry the highest amounts of wild water buffalo out of Wallacea.
By making 1,500 hectares of land protected areas, all threats against the water buffalo will be reduced and their population will increase. Our goal of saving the water buffalo from extinction will be met.
In Indonesian and Malaysian cultures, it is extremely common to fish, hunt, and farm. We know how important it is to the local people to be able to do these things, so we made a plan that still lets the people hunt, fish, and farm. There is still a large portion of Wallacea that we have left unprotected in order to give the local people land to farm. They are also allowed to hunt and fish any non-endangered species in this area.
To make more land protected in Wallacea, we need to have the local people living on this land move. There are only 81 people per square kilometer, so the movement of people out of the protected areas should not be a big deal. We will move them into already inhabited areas where they can continue their lives as normal. However, we do need to make sure there is a separation between the religious communities once the locals are moved. Christians and Muslims are constantly feuding in Wallacea, so we need to separate them to avoid further feuds.
Our conservation plan should only take a few years before the water buffalo is no longer considered an endangered species. New legislation such as making new land available in Wallacea protected should take approximately 3 years.
During this time, new officers could be hired and trained to monitor Wallacea, which would take a year. Lastly, moving people off the protected area and into a new settlement would take no longer than 2 years. All of the steps in our conservation plan would be completed within 5 years of our start date.
To follow up on our plan, there are several steps we can take. First, we can find the population of the water buffalo every year to see if their population is increasing. Also, we can yearly check on the domestic water buffalo of farmers to make sure that interbreeding has ceased.
Because of the implementation of our plan, many good things will result. However, the only negative would be some angered locals. The move might fluster them, but it will not harm them in any way.
On the bright side, our plan will result in a much healthier Wallacea. Without human interference, there will be much less trash and pollution in Wallacea, which results in much cleaner environment for all species of Wallacea.
Most importantly, our plan would be expected to result in the increase in population of the Wallacean water buffalo. This species will be saved from extinction, and Wallacea will be home to the water buffalo for years to come.